Hello again, and another in the series on the history, design, and collecting of knives. And the book that we're going to discuss today covers why it's not limited to any one country or any one time period. And it's this book, British and Commonwealth Military Knives by Flook. And it is limited to Britain, Australia, India, New Zealand, and Canada, and so on. But it covers knives from very early times in the military use. For example, got these knives, which were made mainly for officers going out to India, and there's cookery, and there's also knives that you could use for hunting and so on. Then comes up to First World War. It's got all the really interesting knives that were made for the trench warfare. Two major categories, really. You had the knives that were improvised for trench warfare, we've spoken about in other reviews, but also officers would have their knives made as a private purchase, and often to their own design or from an off-the-shelf item to take. So that was very interesting. Then we come up to World War II, and there's a really good section on home guard knives. And you can see this one here, which looks like a Fairbairn, but it's not. Again, these were made. The guys were in the Home Guard, and remember that the Home Guard, in the UK, we all watched Dad's Army, which is a fantastic series, comedy, but it kind of gives the impression that the Home Guard were old guys, but there was a contingent of the guys who were too young for military service, who were waiting to be called up. So you had quite a wide range, and some of them were really keen. A lot of them had, well, the majority of them would have had experience in the First World War and wanted to get their hands on decent weapons. So they had them made. Some of them lived in villages with blacksmiths and things, and they could have weapons made. Massive section on the Fairbairn, very, very detailed. The photography is excellent. Not just the Fairbairn, but all the different sheath designs he goes into, and a few really good pictures of the knives being carried at war. Some other Fairbairns, but also this knife here, and he also mentioned Swain and Alderney of Piccadilly, and they did supply knives, and if my memory serves right, I think James Bond in From Russia with Love, I think his some of his kit that Major Boothroyd supplied him came from Swain and Alderney. So just a little diversion there. As I said, the knife covers a wide time spectrum, including post-war. And what I found particularly interesting was this section on the Wilkinson Model D survival knife, military survival knife, which was very widely issued. And I have one here, which I've had for years, and it's one of the early models, which you can tell it's got 3 bolted grip screws rather than 2 rather than 3 rivets. It's a very sturdy knife, simple design. The grip, I like it. It's got flat sides to it, so you can index it. There's a swell to it, so fits the palm well. You can grip it near the pommel, and you can get a really good swing, or you can choke up for more precision, and you can also put your thumb on the back of the blade here because it's not sharp, and you can do whittling, that kind of thing. In the book, he shows all the different sheaths. To be honest, the issue leather sheath was rubbish, but they did produce a camouflage sheath for it. But what I did, I replaced it with this custom sheath from the United States, which has a pouch, which I have a fire starter in there, fire starter kit, and it's got numerous attachment points, belt hangers and so on, and it's really well made, and it's lined with plastic so that the edge won't cut through the Kujura. So I like this a lot. But the camouflage sheath is a decent one as well. So that was the Wilkie Mod D. I know some people don't like it, but I think for what it's designed for, which is, you know, camp work and bush work, it's a decent knife. A team leader of mine I was working for, he referred to it as the helicopter escape knife. He had one in the regiment, and that's what they used it for. And later on, and the book does go into a specific helicopter escape knife that was produced just for that purpose. Another section is on clasp knives, and when I was a kid, these were very prolific because everyone was in the forces and they were all issued these and used to bring them home. And we had one in the house, and it was a very useful little knife. And Fairbairn actually taught a technique. They called it the jackknife technique. It was an edge up method of grallicking. So some more knives. The Golok, the jungle knife, used on operations out in the Far East, where obviously the UK operated a lot, Malaysia, or Malaya, Borneo, and so on. Covers the Commonwealth knives, and some of them are just their version of things like the Fairbairn or the similar knives to that. But they did produce quite a few of their own, and particularly since some of the Commonwealth countries did specialize in the jungle, there's a lot of jungle knives. Then another section on fakes and reproductions, which is very, very useful. And Ron Flook has done a lot of work on this, and I'll link to an article he's written, which goes into even more detail. Things like the Bruce hand knives, supposedly from Australia, which really, there's no trace of this character at all. And John Paisley, which has been mentioned a lot, and you got a lot of supposedly authentic knives marked JP for John Paisley. They're fake. So the article kind of clears it up for once and for all, that the historicity of this this branch of fakery. So it really is a major work. He is to be applauded for this. It's very well illustrated. Numerous examples of each knife discussed, and it's very authoritative. And as I say, it covers a wider timeline than most of the other knife books, but it doesn't suffer from that because it links the wars to modern time. So I can really recommend it.